You could be holding a single coin right now that looks like it belongs in a handful of ordinary change. A coin most people would spend without a second thought. A coin that has been dropped into tip jars, lost under car seats, tossed into vending machines, and forgotten in dusty kitchen drawers. And yet that exact same coin has shocked collectors across the United States with prices that sound almost unreal. Some of the finest known examples have crossed auction blocks for staggering numbers. And in the most dramatic cases, the conversation around this tiny piece of copper has reached a level that makes people ask a dangerous question. What if the one in your pocket is the one everyone else missed? What if your next handful of change contains a coin that could be worth more than your entire retirement? A single cent that has been talked about in collector circles with the kind of intensity usually reserved for legendary rarities. A humble wheat penny carrying the possibility of worth $3.4 million or more. This is the story of the 1957 D. Lincoln wheat cent, a coin born in the final years of the wheat penny era, struck at a time when America was moving fast, when pockets were full of change, when nobody imagined that one day people would sit under magnifying lamps searching for microscopic details on coins that once bought a piece of candy. Picture a waitress in the late 1950s dropping her tips into a glass jar at the end of a long shift. She doesn't look at the dates, she doesn't care about mint marks. Those coins sit there for years, then decades, until a grandchild opens that jar and pours the contents onto a table. Among the dark brown pennies is one that flashes a warmer, richer glow. That moment, that pause, is where the entire journey begins. Because most of these coins are common, that's the truth. Millions were struck in Denver. They moved through the country in endless streams of commerce, but hidden among them are coins that were struck just slightly differently. Coins that received a sharper impression from fresh dyes. Coins that somehow escaped circulation with their original blazing red surfaces intact. Coins that show doubling so dramatic that the letters look like they're vibrating. Coins that reveal die breaks, cuds, repunched mint marks, and subtle mechanical secrets from the moment they were born. Hold the coin in your mind. You can feel the weight of real copper, heavier than the modern cents people barely notice today. The surface has a softness to it, but when it's uncirculated, the luster moves like a wave under light. Lincoln's profile rises from the metal with calm authority, every line in his coat visible, every strand of hair sharp. Turn it over and the wheat ears frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, a design that had already become a symbol of everyday life. Now imagine two versions of this same coin sitting side by side. One is worn, almost smooth, brown from decades of use. The other is a blazing red survivor as if it was struck yesterday. To most people they are identical. To a collector they are separated by a financial universe. There's a story often repeated at coin shows about a man who bought a small paper roll of wheat pennies at a flea market for a few dollars. He opened it casually, not expecting anything unusual. Near the center of the roll was a 1957 D that looked different. The color was too bright, the details too sharp. That coin later graded at the very top of the known population. When it finally sold, the room fell silent as the numbers climbed. And then there are the doubled die coins. This is where the mystery deepens. Because somewhere in 1957, during the process of hubbing the dies, a slight misalignment created one of the most talked about varieties in modern wheat penny collecting. On these coins, the words "In God We Trust and Liberty" show clear, dramatic doubling. The date itself looks as if it has a shadow. You don't need to be an expert to see it. Once you know what to look for, it jumps out at you. For years, people spent them without noticing. For years, they sat in change jars. For years, they were handed back as pennies in everyday transactions. And every time one slipped through someone's fingers unnoticed, it added to the legend. Think about how many of these coins are still out there, not in museums, not locked away, but in old family collections that haven't been searched, in bank rolls that get opened on kitchen tables late at night, in inherited boxes where the coins haven't seen light in half a century. Every collector has a story about the moment they found their first real discovery. The sound of copper spilling onto a table, the smell of old paper wrappers, the slow rhythm of checking dates and mint marks, the sudden rush when something looks different. That emotional spike is what makes this coin more than metal. It becomes a possibility. As the years passed and grading standards became stricter, the number of top-condition survivors revealed just how rare perfection really is. Coins that looked flawless to the naked eye suddenly showed tiny marks under magnification. Only a handful remained at the absolute highest levels, and when those coins appeared at auction, the bidding wars became legendary. But here's the part that keeps people searching. The most valuable discoveries were not made by millionaires buying elite collections. They were made by ordinary people looking through ordinary coins. A teenager searching through his grandfather's cigar box. A couple opening a bank roll for fun. A collector stopping at a garage sale and buying a small envelope of wheat cents for a few dollars. Each story begins the same way, with a coin nobody else noticed. And every time one of those stories spreads through the collecting world, it sends thousands of people back to their change jars. Because the details that matter are small. The tiny D mint mark under the date. The separation in the lettering that reveals doubling. The original red color that signals a coin that never truly circulated. The sharpness of Lincoln's cheek and jaw. The clean lines in the wheat stalks. These are the clues. These are the signals. These are the differences between 1 cent and something extraordinary. And when the highest confirmed sales are finally revealed, when the numbers appear on the screen and the audience realizes how much a single perfect coin can bring, it changes the way people look at every penny they receive. Because suddenly, every handful of change becomes a treasure hunt. Every old jar becomes a mystery. Every wheat penny becomes a question. How many are still out there waiting to be found? How many were spent last week by someone who didn't know? How many are sitting in your home right now? This is why the search never ends. Because these coins are not locked away in the past. They are still moving through the present. Still being discovered. Still changing lives in the quietest, most unexpected moments. And the next time a copper coin slides across a counter into your hand, you're going to look at it differently. You're going to turn it under the light. You're going to check for that small mint mark. You're going to study the date and the lettering and the color. Because now you know that one of the most ordinary coins in American history carries a story of hidden value, dramatic discoveries, and the kind of possibility that keeps collectors searching for a lifetime. And somewhere out there in circulation at this very moment is another 1957 D wheat penny that hasn't revealed its secret yet, waiting for the person who decides to look just a little closer.